So in a spiritual awakening process or journey, as you might call it, you will probably experience that you can divide it into three quite distinct phases. And I talk about these in my guide that you can download if you want to about. And I wanted to talk a bit about phase one today, because I mean, that's where it all starts. And probably your spiritual connection and experiences as a child. But then somewhere along the way, you kind of just decided to, no, this isn't something that I can have in my life. Like, I can't show it, I can talk about it. Perhaps your parents weren't open to talking about your spiritual experiences or interest. And I don't know about you, but at least I didn't have this like topics in school. So it was more like, if you believe in these things, you're silly and a bit stupid and like not scientific. So I just want to say, like, right away, you can be super scientific and still spiritual. But anyway, so some day or like a period in your life, perhaps when you're still a child or teen, you started to hide this part of yourself, and then it has remained hidden until the day when your spiritual awakening journey awakens and you start going in that direction again. And this can happen for many people when they have a life crisis, for example, a divorce or a separation, or you might lose your job, or perhaps experience health issues. It can be various things that sort of invites your soul and your spiritual side back into your life again. And common symptoms of that this journey has started is that what used to interest you, it just doesn't anymore. And you have this growing feeling of, there's something more. There's something I should be doing, but I'm not sure what it is. I just know that I can't remain here in this state or in this place or in this version of myself. So this is actually your soul starting to sort of tug at you, like, come along, we are going on a journey. And this can be super confusing because you might feel very lonely in this. You might have like a great job and your home, your apartment or house or whatever, and partner, and you have your like hobbies and stuff like that. And then you just start to feel like, okay, so my job isn't fulfilling anymore. This was supposed to be it. Perhaps you studied like for 5 years at the university, and now you have worked for some years, and then you suddenly feel like, hey, I'm not so sure this is what I want to do. And I mean, only that can be quite disturbing. Even more like uprooting sense is if you also start to feel like a disconnect with your friends and perhaps family, and even with a partner. And these are all signs that your spiritual awakening journey has begun. You might also start to have like more vivid dreams. You might start seeing what people call angel numbers, like repetitive number sequences everywhere. Like 1111, that's a classic. But it can be something else as well. It could be 44 or 43 or whatever. You start seeing it on like cars and the clock, like the time is always this, and number of emails in your inbox, and etc., etc. And perhaps in this phase one, you also start to sort of like, okay, but maybe I should go to that store that sells like esoteric stuff, and you might buy like a crystal or an oracle deck, or you start listening to podcasts about spirituality. So you start to sort of collect new ideas and inspiration about this, and start to navigate the field and find out, okay, what do I like? What do I feel drawn to? And what don't I like? And this is exactly what you should be doing in this phase one. Explore, and also keep like an open mind, and to also not plan everything, because you're at the very beginning of the journey and you probably won't change everything in a couple of months. Like, go from being employed at like a regular job to being like a world famous medium 3 months later. It might happen, but for most people, this is an exploratory phase where you have to sort of start loosening the grip of who you are and build like some kind of capacity to be comfortable in this period of change where you might not recognize yourself as you have been for a long time. But on the other hand, you might recognize pieces of yourself that you had as a child. And this is also time of awakened presence. So you might notice like, wow, it's a beautiful day, and you just sort of breathe in the air and notice a tree that you feel really connected to and stuff like that. So your soul is starting to speak to you more loudly, like, hey, it's time now. And why is this happening for you right now? Well, probably because you mastered the material world. You checked things off the list that is really like useful skills to have in this world. For example, like you probably managed to like study and get a job and make friends and, you know, have clothes and interest and all of those nice material things. You don't have to throw them overboard, but that's just the first part. And now that you have checked those boxes, you can embark on your next journey, which is so exciting and so adventurous. And I'll talk more about phase 2 in the next episode. So see you then.